Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Barr.
Here.
Giovanni.
Here.
Eckhoff. Here. Callis.
Here.
Lee. Hicks.
Yes, here.
Bradshaw. Here. Myers. Gaber.
Here.
Willie.
Here. Thank you. Well, we have the call meeting of the Civic Center Authority with no business before the Civic Center Authority. We'll adjourn that meeting and move on to the consent agenda.
A motion acceptance of the consent agenda. I'll second.
Motion by Kelly, second by James. Roll call, please.
Barr.
Yes.
Giovanni.
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Gaber.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. On the regular agenda, we're going to move item A down for a few minutes while we're contacting someone, and go to item B, Central Business District Master Plan.
You saw the final draft in your packets, and I think that it's pretty reflective of what was discussed first at the council meeting, the public hearing. And so at this point, it'd be appropriate to go on record as approving the plan in concept, knowing that as projects become available with funding, that it'll be revisited. It'll also provide us the backdrop for our grant that we're working on for the downtown.
It's important that we get this step into this so that we can actually apply for grants and make our formal presentation there. So, any comment anybody would like to?
What is the date of the first deadline on the grants that we're working on at the start?
The 10th is when it has to be sent to Springfield.
So with that, we need a motion to proceed.
I so move.
Motion by John, second by Bill Callis. Roll call, please.
Giovanni.
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Gaber.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
The other aspect of this is we'd like to, as part of the grant, provide a local match of 10% to make our application stronger. We're still collecting the numbers. The max of the grant is $3 million, so 10% would be $300,000. That would be used the TIF funds to provide that match. So it'd be appropriate to go on record as approving 10% match, not to exceed $300,000.
A second.
Motion by Brian, a second by Mike. Laura? Roll call, please.
You're fine.
Okay. Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Myers. I'm sorry. Gaber.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Giovanni.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, on our agenda, we have the golf course information coming up. And I think this is going to be quite interesting. I prepared about a 20-minute speech on this so that you guys can, really get fired up. But I'll cut it down to this. Since acquiring the golf course, we've learned a lot, but one of the things I've learned is that we've got a lot of great people in town, and a lot of people that work very hard on what we've accomplished so far, and what we're going to accomplish now, moving into the naming, marketing, and everything else that we're going to be doing. And it really seems to me to be successful. All we need is really dedicated people, a great layout, and a great community. And I think we have all of that right in front of us now. So I think we can be successful. And Taylor and Liz and Shannon are going to give us some details on what our marketing plan is, and hopefully show us our logos that we're looking at.
Yes, David as well. He will be an integral part of this. So, I want to give you guys a little bit of a background with the company that we use. There's a lot of companies out there. We had a really good relationship with, you see in your package there, Campfire Concepts. About 12 years ago, the city of Pontiac and the University of Illinois had a really unique partnership. And through their recreation and sport tourism class, different types of classes from the University of Illinois would come down to the city of Pontiac, and they would evaluate basically all of our parks, our downtown, really our entire city, looking at it as a whole, and making recommendations on specific projects that each course would require. And one of the professors there, his name was Jared Shineman, and Jared Shineman is actually the president of Campfire Concepts, and I've really gotten to know him through a bunch of different meetings as far as Central Illinois Directors Roundtables. He works for the Champaign Park District. His wife is also the marketing creative director. They have multiple resources with golf professionals all throughout the state and Midwest. So we felt very comfortable with the type of company that we're going to work with, our relationship with them, and the history that they have in Pontiac. That's why we felt it was right to go with them. As you can see in your packet, we had quite an extensive history with them on this project. There's a committee that was put together for the name and the logo. And to start off, this is strictly through email. She did come down one time to speak with us, but there were some different types of buzzwords that were really, to start off, I'll take that back. To start off, Jesse wanted us to look at the natural features of the course. And two words that mainly stuck out were the oak trees and the rivers and the creeks and the water there. And from there, we had more surveys, again, online, in person, via Zoom. The committee, we kind of drew it down to different names. And eventually, we ended up again is the rivers and the oaks. And that's where Liz is going to kind of tag in here, and she'll kind of explain more.
All right, so the big reveal. The oaks at River's Edge. The committee discussed this actually in person with Jesse, and this is where everybody landed. We like the feel of it, we like the sound of it. Just to talk a little bit about the logo style, it has a very classic feel, and yet it's also very forward feeling with the color scheme. I personally really like the main font because it sort of has a vintage feel, but it's classy. And then the bottom font, which is actually part of our parent brand of the city of Pontiac. What I really appreciated about what Jessie did with her work is she looked at all the brands across our city, all the different logos that we use, and she really pulled from those as she was developing this. You can see it just has that fun feeling of the river, which is actually also the ball, hopefully going into the hole, with the flag post right there, and of course on an oak leaf. So we have this beautiful color palette that one of the things I know we talked about, if you look up golf logos, they tend to be green, oddly enough, because you want them to be green for grass. So you kind of kept seeing something repeating, and I said, I love the green because that's what you want, but it needs to be different somehow. And so I love that she came up with this because I think it's representative of different seasons. It's not just that summer day, the perfect 75-degree day with no wind. I don't know. Is that what you want for golf? Sounds good. Okay. But it also represents the rest of the seasons in there as well. So we really appreciated that work. If you have any questions about this part, I am then going to turn it over to David, who's going to show you the sorts of things that we're going to do with this logo and name.
So there's a number of different ways to implement the new brand and name. The first of which, probably the most important to start out with, is signage. So we put up a couple of mock-ups of what this could look like. Now, bear in mind, all the pictures you're going to see, these are mock-ups of what products and merchandise and signage could look like. This may not necessarily be the exact final product that we end up with, but it's going to be a fairly close approximation. So, signage, we were looking at this wooden type of sign. It looks really, really, really clean with that new logo, with the fonts. And we were looking at doing something like this potentially inside the pro shop, that's behind the desk on the wall. Something like that would be really cool. We also talked about these pole banner flags, potentially lining the road leading to the golf course and that grassy area between the road and the sewer plant, which would just be a really great way of just showing, hey, this is where you are, this is where you're coming, just keep on going, you're going to have a great day kind of situation. The next form of implementation is going to be on the course itself. There it is. With our golf, the hole flags, which you can see there on the left, and the golf course, or the golf carts themselves. We talked about doing some vinyl decals to put on the carts themselves. This is twofold in its use. It's on one side you've got marketing that's driving throughout. People are going to see this logo and they're going to associate it with the course. The more you put the logo in front of people's faces, the more they'll eventually associate that icon with that course, and the more they associate it with it, the better. The other benefit is that if one of these carts finds its way outside of the golf course, we'll know, because it'll have the big sticker on the side that says we belong to you. So the next phase of implementation would obviously be merchandise, things that we can put into the pro shop, that we can put in the hands of golfers, things that we can sell to turn profit for the golf course, things like polos, branded polos. This is something you could see on a polo shirt like this, multiple colors for both men and women, in whatever colors we decide, whether it be the one color, the multicolored version of the logo, whatever you like to see there is something that we can do. The other is hats. So in our meeting today, we determined that there were more than one kind of hat that is worn at a golf course. Typically you see a ball cap like the one on the right, but they're often seen the visors that you see on the left there, so that's another option. Another form of implementation is pin buttons. These are really popular. You just, they're like a nickel a piece, and you can stick them on a bag or on a jacket or something and just get that brand out there. The next one is going to be golf balls. This is something Shannon might talk about it a little bit more, but this is something that's like, this is huge. If we can have the logo on golf balls, everybody will be playing with that logo all day long. And I think that's just kind of a great way to implement that brand. The next is kind of miscellaneous merchandise. You've got things like those thermal water bottles that keep your water cold throughout the day, coffee mugs, and those thermal coffee cups that you can have your coffee hot throughout the day, because who doesn't like a nice hot cup of coffee that stays hot until it's done? So these are just some ways that we have that we're planning on implementing this new brand in all the iterations that we have, both monochrome and the full color versions. And I think now, unless there's any questions about any of that.
Just more of a
Yes, sir.
comment, I guess. Since this is a brand new brand, we want to put it on their Pontiac, Illinois, since if they take it to Bloomington or other courses, nobody's going to have any idea where the Oaks representatives can be.
That's definitely a possibility. I know that for the immediate future, the plan is, and I think Shannon or Taylor can address this more further if we need to, but I think the immediate future is going to see more of a kind of a blended version of our current name, Pontiac Elks, with the new logo, the Oaks at River's Edge. That way people will have no confusion about what course this is. Obviously with the branding.
Bloomington or Springfield or wherever, they're not going to include where that's at.
Right, so that's definitely something we can add to it, and.
Early on.
Yeah, that's fine. I just, yeah, take that down to where any place other than civil engineering, they're not gonna approve it.
That's a good concern and question to bring up. Anything else before we move on? Great. I'll bring it to Shannon to bring us home, as it were.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a good holiday. Well, being in the pro shop a lot this summer, I get a lot of questions. I got questions from, what is the city going to do with the golf course? What are the membership rates? Are we going to have leagues? Are we going to have outings? All sorts of questions like that. But the most popular question I got from day one was, are they going to change the name, and if so, when? Are they going to have a new logo, and if so, when? And are there going to be apparel with said logo, and if so, when? Well, after listening to all of these guys, you know that I can finally answer that question confidently with yes to all three of those. Working in the golf course industry for almost 20 years, I can tell you that logo items, whether it's golf balls, like David said, will probably be our biggest seller when it comes to logo stuff, but apparel as far as shirts, hats, all that sort of stuff, it all sells. And I've seen that it sells best in two scenarios. One, when the course is well known and people come travel from distances away, whether that's 30 minutes or whether that's on a plane flight. And the second is when a course either changes its name or changes its logo. And in our case, we're kind of doing both. We're kind of a pretty well recognized golf course in Central Illinois, and we're also changing our name and our logo. And in my history from other golf courses, they have utilized the name and logo, whether it's a new name or a new logo or an old one, as the best way to kind of get their brand out there, whether it's at the golf course or other places than the golf course. In our case, we kind of want to move forward towards a rebranding, kind of in a new direction, and having the new name and the new logo ready to roll out this spring will put us in a great spot to move in this direction in all of 2022. We will have the pro shop stocked with a variety of new logos, shirts, balls, and hats as early into the spring as we can. So I hope to see all of you out here in your Elks gear this summer playing golf and having a good time. What's that?
The what year?
The Oaks.
Oh, I thought I heard something
No,
else.
sorry.
Very aged now.
But yeah, in your Oaks gear. So thanks for listening to our presentation tonight, and if there's any questions, all of us are kind of here to answer any of the questions you have.
What, the name that didn't make it was the Oaks at Sewer Pontiac. It does, doesn't it?
And you might not have to put Pontiac out
Jake was pushing hard. These folks and the concept people did a fabulous job. I think we can all agree. The Oaks has this great name to it. I think it'll be quite well received in the golfing community and community in general. I think we just need to proceed. We're getting the marketing ready and move on from there. I do have one question for Shannon.
Okay.
How was December at the golf course?
It wasn't horrible. Probably 3 to 4 out of 7 days a week we had golf in December. That's above normal. Now, granted, a lot of that's membership play, not necessarily daily fees, but
How's January?
pretty cold.
Yeah,
Gives us time to redo all that equipment, so it's all ready to go this spring.
There you go.
I think Brian's point, Pontiac, Illinois needs to be incorporated. Yeah. That's a real good point. So, any other questions? No, I'd just like to say thanks, guys. Great job. We worked really hard with the concept people, and I think we'll have a successful golf course and a great year. Just have to make the weather cooperate as well. We don't need Thanks again. Okay. Moving on, any contact with,
We try again.
what we're waiting on is item A requires that we have 8 voters, and we're missing a couple which we compensated for by Zoom. We have at least one that's out ill with a COVID issue. And we're
He's okay, we're on this.
Did we take a vote on it last time and just miss it? I mean, had we? Like I missed
we
it last.
tabled it.
Right?
Yeah, we tabled it after we looked around with Brian out of the picture, because he's got
Yeah.
an absolute conflict, which eliminates his vote.
Right.
There weren't enough votes to pass there.
If they fire Brian, would that do the job?
Yeah, right.
For 5 minutes.
He probably was involved long enough that it doesn't work.
Brian, did you hear that?
But we made a real effort. We researched.
You're fired.
For 5 minutes, and then you can vote.
Something tells me that, I don't know, that not want to defend that Gary seat.
Well, unfortunately,
We worked hard to try to get the electronic voting implemented enough tonight to get the votes, but whether it's technology or unavailability, it isn't happening, so.
An alternative than waiting for the 2 weeks is adjourning this meeting and then doing an adjourned meeting using Zoom.
oh,
We have that option there.
Yes, we do.
then we'll adjourn this meeting after,
At the end of the meeting, before you adjourn, it won't take a general adjourn, you adjourn it to another date, certain, like next Monday, whenever.
so we're gonna stall you off a little bit longer, what comes down. All right,
So is that preferable to waiting the 2 weeks in a day?
Okay, so.
I don't be here in 2 weeks, so that would be better.
Well, it's gonna be Zoom.
Right,
yeah,
right.
but,
The whole thing is Zoom.
And
we enjoyed seeing you
what
though.
I've been on council a long time, and I've never seen this happen before.
Well, may our luck. It's in keeping.
Take care.
I'll call you tomorrow when they, this is over, later this week or next week.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, mayor's comments. Couple things. I spoke with people about the holiday tournament, and it went very well. They were extremely happy with the turnout and everything else. I think they were all hoping for a different winner, but, you know, Curry and Simeon have just been dominating, so we'll see how that goes. I did want to comment about, we're missing one of our stalwarts, Jim Melvin. I'm sure most of you heard that he was in an accident and was hit up on, I think it was on Water Street, crossing Water Street. And I spoke with him. He's feels pretty good, except he's got a broken leg and cracked vertebrae, and he's going to be laid up for a while. So if you have an opportunity to call him and wish him well, please do so. He's been one of our stalwarts for many years with the city. And I also wanted to point out to Chris that you guys did a great job on the streets. I've heard nothing but good comments all day, today and yesterday. So I know it was a lot of hours, but anything exciting come out of that?
It was just one of those
So Chris is gonna kind of pinch hit. Yeah.
You notice how he just fell in the chair about 2 inches? So his broad shoulders taking on more weight.
Yeah, I've talked with Jim, and, we do get something, I was gonna have to walk us through his process, so we'll get graders, and we've helped him for years, helping him dig and get things ready, so. He's ready to help until he can get back into help, so. Main thing is just figuring out, locating the graves and make sure we put people in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important. But she's not very convenient. It's good about
Any council comments you'd like to make?
I think it's kind of interesting though, Moses carrying his staff with sealing water.
If he departed the water, you'd have been okay, Carl.
Oh, well.
That was a stretch.
That's Bob right there. City administrator.
Just a reminder, the next meeting is on Tuesday, the 18th, because of the holiday. We're needing to ramp up discussions on the budget. And if you could, 24th and 31st availability, those are the Mondays after the last council meeting. Pencil that in. Pardon? At this point, and see where it goes. Just as an update.
That's committee of the whole.
Committee of the whole. Just as an update, we're still wrestling with sewer billing for the ambulance. So until we really get our arms around that, the expense side of that, that's going to be a big piece of the puzzle. And so we did get our first check today. And so we're working it, and hopefully by then we'll have some more answers.
Just a check over expected.
No. It was just for one run. Taylor, any update on ice skating?
Yeah, we've been getting that a lot. Guys have been working hard, Rick and Stewart, Chris and his guys. We, as you guys know, if there's good golf weather, that doesn't mean there's good ice skating weather. So January has really been the first week where we haven't had some sort of above 40 or 50. So we've kind of started from square one, and we're doing as many layers as we can. That rink holds 20,000 gallons, and we're adding 500 gallons at a time in order to try to speed this thing up so we can try to get it going. Hopefully next week, the ultimate goal will be this weekend. I'm just not sure that's going to happen, but hopefully next week for sure.
What was it?
John?
I don't know. Don, you're not on mute.
What'd you say, Liz?
You're not on mute?
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, you're done? Okay. Public comment.
6 or 7,
Huh?
6 or 7.
6.
Only thing I got to say is, I feel like the logo, I think it looks really good for the golf course in here. The only thing I look at it is not being a big golf person, I do play golf, but not having on there where it says golf course, or a bigger flag that represents the golf course on it. But I think the rest of it looks really good. That's
Good point.
right on the golf course.
We'll be there. Okay.
We're going to go to executive session and then come on.
We do have need for executive session for personnel matters. So we shall take motion Brian, second from John. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Yes.
Jovinity,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis. Hicks.
I muted you.
He said yes.
You said yes, I need you to say yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Gaber.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
It's about 2 minutes or so, and we'll go into executive session.